No! Oh! And that was in turn 2.
More damage.
Chris Johnson was at the head of this one. Got in with David Phillips the second from the looks of things. And then Paul Schmallenberg got into it big time. He got into Powell. They all went into the inside wall. I think Wayne Grossi also got into it. And we'll take a look at it here. Down in the turns 1 and 2. Johnson had just lost a fight with Travis Manning, and Phillips the second looks like trying to capitalize. There you see Grossi with his own moment in the background. But watch that 89 car. Where he goes wide. I don't know if there actually was contact there. I think that might have been all by his own for the 48, and that's a huge hit with the 72.
Yeah, that is wild there for Chris Johnson to just lose it like that, and just the dominoes fell.
Man.
That is going to affect a lot of these guys' races. It looked like there was a little bit of contact between Manning and Johnson a little bit there, and then Dave Phillips came up. Yeah, that is an interesting wreck there.
A lot of drivers down the pit road to get damage repair. Matthew McMeekin takes the lucky dog to get a lap back. But he is still going to be 2 down, so McMeekin has a while to go.
And already we've seen a lot of attrition. Martinsville, even with fresh, unlimited tires, this place is a shredder when it comes to people's races. I mean, you could easily, you don't think, it's a low-speed collision usually at this racetrack, but a lot of times, it isn't as low speed as it could be. A lot of times those wrecks happen whenever you're fully going into the corner. You can't see what's on the exit of that corner unless you got a spotter that tells you.
It is definitely a race of endurance, and it is a race of patience. We talked about this up at the top of the broadcast, and we'll likely continue to come back to it as this long night goes on. But it is a race where, patience is king. You cannot abuse the race. You cannot slip up on the racetrack, which is why you need to just stay still, hit your marks, and above all, make sure that you do not let your emotions get the better of you, because as soon as you start to let that happen, that is when the mistakes start to pile up, and sooner or later, you can't beat the odds.
Yeah, you just make more and more mistakes for sure, 100%. And, can't drive angry. That's when you make a lot of those mistakes and, cause even more issues out here. In a pretty good rhythm, you kind of get that disrupted a little bit with all these cautions.
Paul Schmallenberg attempted to come out on the track, and then he's going to come back down just to avoid losing as much time as possible while he gets damage repaired. As the lights go out, and this time it'll be Levine to lead him to the green. Bits on his outside, Hoffman just in behind. Look back for Brian Johnson, though, after a mistake on the initial stage 2 restart. He finds himself all the way down in P11 now. Bad news for Brian Johnson, who wants to try to close in that points gap to Labrie.
He literally is in a must-win right now. Luckily, Labrie not here.
Indeed.
And Justin Levine gets a good start there. Noah Bitts definitely caught sleeping a little bit here. Clayton Hoffman almost had position on him on the inside, but looks like Noah Bitts able to keep that position.
Bit of a moment for Brian Johnson out of turn 2, but he stays with it and gets clear in his P10. And looks to be a bit of a calmer restart this time around than we saw before. You can take a look at, of course, the 98 car of Troy Torgerson just in behind Roy Hyde, trying to close in time to the number 13 car running in P11 at the moment. And so far, it has been a solid run as Brian Johnson, you see just at the bottom left, making the pass up on Al Kozlowski to put him further up into the top 10. That'll be for 9th.
Yeah, Brian Johnson's going to be trying to claw his way through this field, do whatever he can. He knows it's not over. Still so much time left to go. Even though this is a short track, 250 laps does not equal 250 miles. It still feels a lot like it does, considering just how, like you said, this is endurance. It takes a lot of endurance. This is such a physical track.
It can really wear you out, and we're going to be seeing fatigue set into these drivers before you even hit that halfway point, as you see David Phillips II losing a spot to Jeffrey Sousa. Meanwhile, Brian Johnson steadily reeling in Brian Littleton up in P8 at the moment. Brian Johnson's doing the good thing. He is picking his fights. He is sized up his opponents in front of him and then just picking them off one driver at a time. He's not trying to go 2 and 1, because it doesn't usually work out. Just take one driver at a time, and you'll find yourself up at the field before long. They say that down the inside of Littleton, and that'll be a textbook Martinsville overtake. Cleared off of 2. Now we can focus on running down David Phillips.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's being very calculated on his moves here. It's definitely working out very well for him. I mean, I think he's driving with a lot of respect, too. He's not being, a bully to these guys. They're just letting him go because they see how fast he is, and that's just what I love about ISCA, that's for sure. A lot of respect. We saw him struggling very hard earlier in this race. Now has worked his way up to 6th. I mean, looking like a whole different car.
And he's about to be the one that's under fire as well as Johnson. You saw clear David Phillips second. How about Mark Sanchez working his way underneath Roy Hyde? Sanchez is one of the drivers who has been relatively quiet so far throughout this race, and he has not been involved in any chaos so far today because he has been so far back. But he finds himself running in 15th now. How about Al Kozlowski? He's had a bit of an interesting race so far. Been in a few physical altercations on the course already. No doubt there will be more if Martinsville, plays out the way Martinsville usually does. And so you're taking a much tighter entry into 3 and 4. But that caused him to swing a bit wide through the middle of the corner and lose a little bit of time to the guys in front.
Kozlowski's had a lot of glimmers of excellent out here, but looks like his car is not handling well. I mean, one thing we got to keep in mind, we talked about it earlier on the top of the broadcast, about how, really the conditions of this racetrack are going to keep changing, and I think that's what we're seeing.
And Drumhiller looks like just gained up a place on Corey Cook. And further up front, Brian Littleton looking to mount a charge on David Phillips II. Going to go down the inside of 3 and 4. The 89 car looking to pinch in the 28 right at the apex of 3 and 4. So far, that 89 car doing a good job of trying to hold the outside line. That's going to get a bit close as Littleton overshoots the entry. Look at how he's diamonding off the corner exit, but just lost so much speed down the backstretch.
Oh, getting a little loose there. Almost catching a little bit of the bumper there, or the apron there. It looks like Phillips going to... Oh, contact there.
Oh!
That's going to be a caution right there.
Absolutely. Big hit, and it came from a bump and run from Al Kozlowski that shoved Littleton to the point where he could not slow down in time. And David Phillips II, an innocent bystander that deal. Nothing the 89 could have done to avoid that. You're going to watch this here from Al Kozlowski. Caught off guard by when the 28 car's breaking point was, and that just sent both of them hard into the turn 1 wall.
Yeah, so unfortunate there to see that. I mean, it does look like Kozlowski was not braking at the same time that Littleton was, that's for sure. Kozlowski definitely was late braking, and Littleton was trying to set himself up for the corner. And unfortunately, like I said before, I mean, different braking techniques here at this racetrack can cause problems.
And with this run being about 20 laps strong, you see a lot of drivers looking to come down pit road. Levine led them down, and we'll see what's going to happen here when they leave pit road, if it'll still be Levine in front. Looks like 4 tires and fuel seems to be the very popular strategy up and down throughout this grid, and Levine is going to be the one to lead them off of pit road. Travis Mann is going to pick up 3rd place, though, in the pit stop, jumping Noah Bitts as Hoffman will take P2.
And look at Kenny Powell's car right now, still running. How is that car still running?
Discount modified.
Duct tape apparently is working. It's magic there.
And you get the guys up in Formula 1, they'll have a little bit of damage on their floors. You'll be able to maybe get the car out there in about 20 more minutes. They'll need to do some tinkering and replace the whole dang floor. Here you get a bit of a ding to the wall, rip the hood off, and beat it out with a hammer and put some duct tape on it. You're good to go.
Like you said, discount modified. I mean, and somehow cars like that are still somewhat competitive here in Martinsville.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing. They can be surprisingly competitive if they can get some good, airflow in.
This is going to be a good one here. I have a feeling lots of guys going to be trying to work work their ways up. I mean, I know Brian Johnson being one of them. I mean, I know he's got to be clawing at everything he can get right now. Be surprised to see what a man will do in desperation.
So under caution yet again, and I believe we are 2 to green at the moment. McMeekin stay out under this caution flag, you'll be able to take the wave around and get a lap back, and Justin Levine will be your race leader coming to the green flag. And you're going to, kind of wonder what this could play out to be, when we get further down in this race. You never know, just how these races can play out, and it could be in for a wild finish as well. And there you go, 1 to green. And Levine will lead them back off.
And the attrition has been very real here. I mean, 17th on back now is 1 lap down. Brian Littleton, of course, involved in that last incident. 1 lap down. Matthew McMeekin 1 lap down. And Paul Smallberg actually out of the race car. Chris Johnson out of the race car also. Schaffner and Mullins all out of the race car.
Yeah, so unfortunate for all these guys that found themselves out of the race cars early. Still a lot of race to go, though, and a lot of drivers to make it happen. Green flag flies once again. Got tipped by Corey Cook from the looks of things.
Wow. And look at that. Pretty much net code there, actually. Didn't even have any contact, really.
We'll take a look at it here. Al starts to come down. He's been taking that tight line all day long for the entry, and Corey Cook just didn't see it coming. Just tipped him over into turn 1.
Yeah, I think they would have had contact no matter what, but there was a little bit of room in between their cars whenever he spun around there. Very interesting. It would have definitely had contact. I think it was, just like Alex Kozlowski kind of ran into Brian Littleton earlier. It was pretty much the same thing, only reverse for him. So I don't know if that's karma paying him back or what.
Well, caution flag is out.